Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 4th, 2021 at approximately 6:46 a.m. PST. Well, the year has gotten off to an interesting start. I'm seeing absolutely horrendous disparity between different parts of the world. On the one hand, we have governments setting up stringent laws to stop people from talking about what governments are doing. On the other hand, we have governments that are passing laws that are absolutely designed to help the people. The best law that I saw recently, and again, I don't know if these are, I haven't done my fact checking, so this is just what I read. Okay, and in my opinion, assuming this one is right, it is long overdue and absolutely a good thing. But apparently, according to what I read in Facebook, apparently San Diego has passed a law that went into effect at the beginning of this year that all food suppliers and food and grocery stores are to pass on their waste food, what they were going to be throwing in the garbage, if it's still edible. They've been told they have to pass it on to emergency response groups and food banks. Now, to me, this should have been a no-brainer. There should have never been a question with it. Okay. And that's the sort of thing that we've got to realize is that, yes, businesses require their income. They've got to have their income as well. It's a barter system. That's all money is. Okay. And this is why I say it is so important to have your finances worked out so you know how much money you're working with, so that you can stay on top of things. It's also why I say absolutely, if you've got a little bit of surplus, help people out. If you don't have the surplus, in other words, if you're not making ends meet yourself, then giving your stuff away is not necessarily as beneficial. Primarily because it puts you in the same boat where you're going to need help as well. This is why karmic law is number one, be true to yourself first. In other words, make sure you're taking care of your home front before you try taking care of everybody else's. Now, obviously, I'm in the wrong profession to tell you don't help people, but you have to start helping people by helping your own home. Okay, so and the big message I was sent to pass on to the peoples of this existence, and I mean all of them from every race, every walk of life, and to this end, I do request your assistance. As a matter of fact, I require it because one person is not going to change the whole thing. Okay, but the message I was sent back to actually pass on is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, there will be exceptions. There are those of you out there that have still got the misguided idea. I call it misguided because I've seen what happens in the long run of trying to control everybody around you, trying to control who people talk to, is not going to work. Okay, it never has, and in all likelihood, it won't. They tried doing it in World War II. Look how that went. They tried doing it in Rome. Didn't work that well for them either. Okay, people are going to communicate. Okay, and the more that you pressure the people around you to not communicate by using laws that do not apply to everybody, and that means everybody, not just the ones that have a certain income level. Okay, see, years ago, when you ran into the occasional person that had a peanut allergy, for instance, okay, that person was taught stay away from peanuts, don't deal with them. And that person and the people that dealt with that person were taught here's what to do if something goes sour. They didn't go, oh, that one person has a peanut allergy, so let's lock down the school and let nobody have peanuts. Okay, what I have seen with society in today's world is it has become so sanitized that people's immune systems cannot deal with anything. Okay, net result, we've got the viri that are going around right now. that are wiping people out. It's not just a question of whether or not you're taking care. And sanitation, don't get me wrong, sanitation is necessary. Okay, because if you don't have a reasonable amount of sanitation, what you end up with, what is that? I'm looking at something and can't figure out. Oh, it's my coffee cup. If you over sanitize, you wipe out your body's ability to cope with anything. Now, in my case, yeah, I live in a bit of a clutter. I'm probably because I got too many things on the go. But in all fairness, aside from a couple of annoying problems, as in a rather major heart attack, it was cute. Had a major heart attack, and I was a beautiful shade of gray. Apparently, that's not the right color. But I went to the doctor. I got it dealt with, which really boiled down to going to the doctor and realizing they didn't know what they were doing. So I left. And the reason I say that is I didn't mind. I didn't mind going to the doctor, and I got in there. I was gray. I was a little off kilter. And the doc asked me, he goes, "Do you know what's going on?" Now, to me, this is a reasonable question. You go in there gray, you're not exactly in great shape. Is your mind still working? So I looked at the doctor, and just as clear as a bell, I looked at him and went, "Yeah, I'm right in the middle of a major coronary." Well, 5 hours later, he comes back to me, and he goes, "Well, we confirmed you had a major coronary." I just looked at him and went, "It took you 5 hours to figure that out? I told you that when I got in here." Now, granted, most people don't know what's going on when they go in. But he made the mistake when he turned around. That same doctor looks at me. The moment I told him that, he goes, "Well, you couldn't have possibly known." Now, I took rather offense to that, and I looked at him and I went, I came in here, you asked if I knew what was going on. I told you what was going on. And then you confirmed what was going on, and then came back to me and told me I couldn't know. So I'm going home. Right? I'm done. Well, as it turned out, I did end up staying the night. But then I wasn't exactly in any shape to walk out of there. The next morning, however, that was another issue. Because the next morning, I woke up and started getting out of bed, and I looked and the nurse looks at me and goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going home." I said, "I'm out of here at 1 o'clock." She goes, "Well, you can't. The doctor has to release you." I said, "Well, maybe the case, but I didn't come in handcuffs, so I'm going home at 1. "Well, we've still got more tests to run." I said, "Well, ain't that too bad?" I said, "I'm going home at 1. You've got until then I'm leaving." And she goes, "Well, if you're insisting on going, we've got to get you to sign some paperwork." I says, "No problem. You've got until 1 o'clock to get the paperwork to me, because frankly, I could care less about your paperwork. I'm leaving at 1 o'clock." Well, amazingly enough, she brought me back the paperwork in less than 15 minutes, and I left. 5 years later, I decided a stroke was a really cute thought. By the way, don't do that. Bottling your emotions is a bad idea. That's how I managed to get my stroke, is I bottled everything inside. Now, when I'm talking about, we started that off a little different, because I started off with the idea that sanitation and distance is necessary for people to return to a healthy environment. This said, when I said this society has become too sanitized for its own good, when I was growing up, kids used to play in the dirt. They used to get muddy. They used to eat, they ate things they really shouldn't have. I.e., let's taste what this grass tastes like. Not a great idea. Okay, but what did happen was their immune systems were stronger. Nowadays, the world is rampant with allergies, well, I call misdiagnoses, but I'm not a doctor, so but the world is rampant with allergies, rampant with illness. Okay. And people are doing absolutely very little on their own front. They're relying on modern medicine to correct the problem that they're causing for themselves. Okay. Now, I'm no dietitian, but I do know if you eat a balanced diet, your body will respond better. If you get regular exercise, your body will respond better. This does not mean you have to take on some massive running every day. And these people that come out with, here's a pill to drop 30 pounds in a month. That's a cute thought, but it's absolutely disastrous because your body doesn't have time to adjust to it. The best combination I ever found where it came to dropping weight was quite literally you drop a pound to a pound and a half a week. Now, yes, that means if you're trying to drop 40 pounds, okay, if you're dropping a pound to a pound and a half a week, you're looking at somewhere around the 40 week mark, or 10 months to drop 40 pounds. But you avoid the withdrawals, you avoid the crashes, right? It is necessary to eat properly. It is necessary to clean properly. Okay. And the cleaner things are, the better you eat, the more organized you are, the healthier you're going to be. One of the best things I did in my home, okay, and I'm very tempted a lot of the time, like I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, I mention it, because I see headlines, but I don't read into many of them. And, years ago, way before everything went sour, I'd already disconnected my cable. Okay, I don't watch the news. I don't pick up the newspaper and read that. Okay, I don't even listen to the weather report. Okay, I'm in Kelowna, and we were apparently supposed to have a good shot at snow over the last 4 days. Well, we had a flake. Now to me, the horizon method of watching the weather works best. Look at the horizon, figure out which way the wind is blowing. That's what you get in the next 3 or 4 hours. Okay, but people have become so sanitized and so clinically concerned about what other people think that they are living in absolute fear. Now, I'm seeing this propagated through the media. Now, do understand, I don't blame the media. Okay, because I've seen what goes on Facebook. The majority of people are doing the same thing and propagating the negative side. That is changing. Okay, thankfully it is changing. Now people go, when is this whole mess going to end? In my opinion, we could be looking at another 2 or 3 years before things stabilize. And Lord knows what's going to happen over that time. But I gave up watching the news. I gave up listening to it. Okay. So I've been sitting back watching the people. And quite frankly, this is why I say I came back to pass on one simple message. And I should have said this a while ago, but if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of it. Because this message has to get out to everyone in existence, whether they have a computer or don't. Okay, and that's where you come in. When you take this message forth and you start changing your life in the way that we're talking about, and pass that on to the people you come in contact with, what we end up with is a society that is changing gears. Very, very necessary at this stage. Because if we don't shift the angle that society is working on, well, welcome to Rome. Welcome to the Middle Ages. That worked out well. Okay. It's funny. There's a very simple comment that goes, everything in moderation, which means everything. There's no exceptions. Okay, there's no exceptions to it at all. Everything, every thought line, everything you eat, everything you drink, everything in moderation. Now, there are some things you absolutely should not be eating. Okay. I've heard people claim, oh, if it's natural, it's good for you. Well, that may be, assuming you think that arsenic is actually a good thing for you because it's natural. By the way, arsenic is a poison. And no, I'm not going to tell you where to find it. You get to figure that one out for yourself. But I recommend not playing around with it. But 2022 is set to be a really good year for people when people start working together. Like I read about one the other just today, where apparently somebody in lineup at a grocery store decided they were going to pay for the person next in line. Didn't ask anybody, just paid for the person next in line. And that was fine. Okay. But what was surprising was apparently everybody, the next ones in line for the next while, everybody was doing the same thing. Okay. Now, some people were apparently going, oh, I can't accept this. If somebody offers you money, if somebody offers you a hand with no functional strings attached, it may be wise to accept it. Remember that thing about energy out, energy in? Those same people are usually the ones that are trying to help everybody else. Now, obviously, I'm in the wrong profession to tell you don't help people. But I will tell you, if we don't start working as a community, working together, getting away from this idea of, you know, instead of love thy neighbor as thyself, fear thy neighbor as well. You know, this idea of fearing everything around you doesn't work well. Okay. Fear begets fear, etc., etc. It's a real vicious wheel. Okay, now some people have told me I was paranoid because I was saying things like the government is watching this. And the funny part is I'd call it paranoia, except for usually when I say the government's up to something or a given group of people are up to something, usually about 30 years down the road it comes out that they were. I don't call that paranoia. I just simply call that foresight. Okay. Now, the path society is on, we are at a turning point right now. Now, you've got a choice. You can continue doing exactly what you're doing and see how well that works. Because we know when this whole mess started, it was said we need to get to 75% and then we'll be fine. Well, they're now at something apparently upwards of 86%. Okay, and the situation is worse than ever, apparently. This is why I don't pay attention to the news, because there's so much conflicting information. I go with one philosophy. I'm still healthy. I'm still, yes, I'm reclusive. But then I was reclusive a decade before this all started. But it's time to start getting rid of the negative thought processes. If what you're hearing is not making you look forward to today or forward to the next 5 minutes, it may be advisable to start listening to something else. And no, this does not mean put your head in the sand. Let's face it, we don't ignore the fact that gravity exists, but you don't walk around fearful that you're going to fall down every set of stairs you're going to try and go down, unless your balance is really bad. And that's the exception. Okay, I don't leave the house much right now because I've got a bad leg. I do use a cane a lot of the time. And cane, bad leg, and ice, bad combination. So I don't leave the house much. Mind you, in all fairness, even if the weather was good, I wouldn't be leaving the house much at this point. Okay. What people don't realize is that the more you dwell on fear, the worse it gets. Okay, not only do you start fearing everything, but you start imagining things that are fear based. In addition, it's like I've told some people, you're a professional worry wart. You'll worry about pretty much everything. And if you've got nothing viable to worry about, you'll worry about that to kill time. Okay. Myself, I do my best not to worry. But even so, I was talking about my finances the other day. I was more concerned with what other people thought I was doing in the way of making headway than I was about what I was feeling about it. Well, I'm quite content with the plan I've got in place now. Okay, there's still some more work to be done on the tracking of certain aspects of it. But I'm quite content with the outlook. And I'm starting to put together the list of goals that I've got. I'm not including getting the end of an epoch printed because it's already in the printer. So I mean, that's talk about stacking the deck. But I am looking at this funny little book here, Mr. Dreamcatcher. It will be going to Amazon or to Author House as soon as I can put the money together, and much more importantly, as soon as I can find the soft file. Okay, the sequel to that will be going to my printer in town here. Okay, because I've got it written already. Again, I just have to track it down and get it to her so that she can deal with it. But that's two of the goals that I have for doing before the end of this year. Okay, for me, these are just goals for me. Okay, getting certain things sorted around, like for instance, much as I would love to get rid of all of my junk, another one I'm working on is clearing out my office of everything that isn't office related, as in my writing, my consulting, that sort of thing. It will all get set up in the office properly. Everything else is going. But that's taking some time. I was getting rid of files yesterday, that are, well, they were from 2008. So let's face it, we're talking 13 years ago, which gives you an idea of how much of a pack rat I've been. So I'm starting to get rid of old receipts and what have you that I don't require anymore and just clear them out of the way, dispose of them. Because all they're doing is holding me back. They're cluttering up my house, and I no longer desire the clutter in my life. So I'm getting rid of the material stuff. Thought processes are a little more tricky. Okay, but they can be done. But here's the thing, and this is one of the important factors where it comes to that other question I answered yesterday. How do you get more in tune with your higher self? Well, taking a look at the concept that your primary living space, your primary working area, is a reflection of the way your mind is working. If you take that axiom and you flip it around, the state of your mind is also a reflection of the way that your house looks or your primary operating place works. And it is categorically easier, and that's probably the wrong word. It is far easier, in my opinion, to alter the way your house looks and to alter the clutter in it than it is to alter the way you're thinking. Now, for those of you that are pack rats, well, quite honestly, join the club. It's likely going to be challenging to get rid of the clutter, but it's also very necessary. Okay. So, from my end, I've got a number of things I've got to get dealt with, but I am quite happy with the layout that I've got, with the plan I've got set in place for my business, for my household income. Okay, the last 5 months, I've set a goal to make financially. Okay, for the last 5 months, every time I've upped that goal a little higher. Okay, and the last 5 months, I've hit that goal every time. This is why I say that little, and come to think of it, I've got to put that on the list. I've got that list over here. So, no, you can't see it. Of course, you can't read it anyway. On a sheet of paper, wherever you work on your finances, a simple affirmation to write down where you can see it easily. I have legally attained a minimum of X dollars, X being whatever it costs to run your household, rent, utilities, insurance, food, entertainment, savings, transportation, and anything else that fits in the bill. Now remember, your utilities, in my eyes, take your credit cards and call those your utilities. Okay. But once you figure out how much you require to run your household, you write using that number as X. You literally write down the phrase, I have legally attained a minimum of X dollars by January 31st, 2022 at 1 minute to midnight. Okay, that's all you have to write. And what I have found is it helps keep you focused. It helps draw that finances to you. A couple other things that will help. Any mirrors that you've got. Okay. what you do, especially if it's a mirror that you can see when you come through the door, like through the main door to your house. Any reflective surface. Put plants near it. Live plants work really well. In my case, I can't use live plants because, well, I've got one in my house that has survived. Okay, I'm really good at killing plants, apparently. But on any mirror that is readily visible, I recommend taking either take decals of ivy or plastic plants, okay, or live plants right near the mirror. Because what that does, mirrors have a tendency of reflecting back, or more to the point, reflective surfaces reflect back the positive energies that are coming into your house by surrounding it with plants. Even if they are just renditions, like a painting of a plant does the same thing. It's the concept that matters. But it connects to the living energy of the planet and draws that prosperity to you. These are just simple ways of helping enhance your own connectivity. And they're the same tools I personally use. Okay. But this is why I say we have to work together to turn this world back around to make it a better place for virtually everybody. Okay. And I implore you, if you're in a position to help people, even if all that means is offering a smile to somebody that you're walking by, give the people a hand. Okay. If you're not in a position to help people and somebody offers you assistance, accept the assistance. If there's no strings attached, then where's the harm? And of course, there's those of you that'll go, well, there's always strings attached. Everybody has ulterior motives. That is fear based. Okay. I'll be straight up front. I do have an absolute ulterior motive. Actually, it's not ulterior, it's a direct motive. The reason I'm asking for your assistance is because if we don't start working together, the society as you know it will collapse. You're already witnessing it. Yeah, I'm just straightforward and go, this is what I'm seeing. The religious guides, the churches, the temples, you guys have got to quit teaching fear. And don't give me this idea that we're teaching love. God loves everybody, but fear the daylights out of him because he's vindictive. This is not a message of love. This is a message of fear. Okay. From my standpoint, don't get me wrong. Am I a Christian? Absolutely. As in, I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus Christ. Am I a Bible thumper and going to tell you everything in the Bible is right? Absolutely not. I'll tell you flat out it isn't. Okay, but I will tell you the basic line behind it is very simple. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay. And reach out and help those that require assistance. It's that simple. You do not live your life in fear anymore. It is imperative we start living our life in a cooperative, unified fashion. Helping each other is the way we put this planet back on track. It's that simple. Now, with that in mind, I've got things I gotta get done. I would love to hear your comments below this video. If you've got a comment or a question you desire me to answer that you don't want the rest of the world to know what it is, there's a number of different ways of contacting me listed below this video as well. Reach out to me. I will do my best to get back to you. A lot of the writings I talk about can only be received through me. The prices and how to get a hold of me are all right below this video. With that in mind, I'm going to let you go for the day. I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.